What's up, my fly folks out there? How y'all doing? I hope y'all doing all right. Welcome to the FY Fly Podcast. My name is Hassan Thomas, aka the kid that did and the man that can, baby. And today, we're gonna be chopping up with luxury real estate and mortgage broker, Mr. Aaron Abbadie. How are you, brother? How are you?
Phenomenal, brother. Thank you for the intro. That was smooth too, brother.
Oh yeah, you know we're gonna turn you up when you get on here, man. We were already turned at my man Jay Monopoly's event not too long ago. The event that y'all did was outstanding. Definitely want to give a big shout out to y'all, give y'all flowers for that, man.
Appreciate it, man. That was a lot of fun. I'm glad it's over, but it was a really great time to see everybody in the room. You know, we had over 175, almost 200 people in the room for a free event with less than 30 days of marketing. So that's a big win in my books.
Oh yeah, big win. So yeah, it was great meeting you there. But we're now here on FY Fly, and what we like to do, brother, we like to skip the fluff and get right into the good stuff. How that sound?
Let's do it.
All right, man. So the first thing I want to know is, there's always a turning point for an entrepreneur, you know, in their life where they realize, okay, I can really take this, you know, whatever hustle, whatever business it is, and take it to the next level. Take us back to that turning point, that defining moment in your life where you knew real estate could bring generational wealth for not only you, but your family and your future generations.
100%. So that moment for me, I can remember it clear as day. I was sitting in a real estate office, and I had just sold my first luxury home for $1.1 million.
How old were you at the time?
I was 22.
Okay.
22 or 23. And I made my first 5-figure check, right? It was like 16 G's. It should have been closer to 30. But I was on the team, and I traded, you know, you gotta work to learn before you can work to earn at a high level, right? So I traded having a higher income potential to have higher splits and learn at a faster pace, right? But when I saw that check and I knew I was already developed enough as a real estate agent to take it out on my own, and all the investors I had already helped get into a market for these investment properties, I knew, you know, I could do this on my own and scale it up and build the machine the way that I want it to serve me. Right. So that was that defining moment for me.
Okay, so I want to follow the journey. I want the folks listening to follow the journey with me. So you got your real estate license at 19. COVID struck. You moved back, you know, with the parents for a little while. You began self-educating and self-improving. After that, when did you jump back into the real estate game fully? Like, how did that go? Like, what steps did you take after someone gets their real estate license? What are the steps that they should then take to then, I guess the next step would be networking to get that database? Like, kind of give us the next steps after someone gets that real estate license.
So for me, I was already in real estate during COVID. I just had to get back in and take it a lot more seriously.
Okay.
But to answer your follow-up question, it would be to join a team. You know, you're better off joining a winning team that has proven methodologies, that has active listings, that has a portfolio of sales that you can now say, we've sold homes in your area, we've closed deals in your area, we help buyers every single month, right? That's very powerful on the phone. And instead of grinding it out at the office by yourself, you're literally a part of a winning team. Whether or not you sell anything in your first 90 days, you're learning a lot faster than if you were at the office by yourself or working from home by yourself.
So is that a Keller Williams or is that someone?
Yeah.
Is there no? So that's the only name I know, honestly. So is there other teams out there, or would you say start with Keller Williams? Like,
yeah. So there's different horses for different courses, right? Keller Williams is good for a lot of new agents, but it's kind of expensive, in my opinion, to be there, right? As a new agent, you're probably going to make 65 to 75% of your commission if you're not on a team. And if you are on a team, it's like 40 to 50%. You know, I'm at a brokerage today after being in the game for almost a decade, right? I'm 28 years old now, that I wouldn't even think of leaving because of how supported I feel by my broker. Right.
Gotcha.
And we have over 700 real estate agents. We focus on Florida real estate. So I don't know where your audience is coming from, but even for new agents, there's a lot of great resources. We have a daily call every single day, morning call, where we go over listing presentations. The industry just changed a little bit when working with buyers, you know, how to implement that buyer agreement into your initial consultation,
Mm-hmm.
winning strategies. There's a lot of good stuff that you don't get at most brokerages. So I would recommend Lux if you're in Florida and you want to align yourself with a luxury brand. But I'm not going to pretend like we're the only brokerage out there. There's a lot of good brokerages out there doing innovative things. So I would
Yeah.
just say go ahead and test the market, see what's out there, and see what works best for you.
Mm-hmm.
At first, I didn't really know if it was a good decision or not. I was just like, I'm tired of referring business out to people that I don't necessarily want to work with. If I
Mm-hmm.
can answer all of their financing related questions, why can't I just do the loan? There's nothing in the law that says I can't do both, right? So
Gotcha.
let me go get this mortgage license. Even if I don't do any mortgages, I have differentiated myself in the marketplace, right? How many
Facts.
realtors do you know also do mortgages? Not many, right?
Yeah.
So let me go see what this is all about. And I got licensed and I joined a winning team. I did the same thing,
Mm-hmm.
right?
So what
Success
was
leaves
that
clues.
process like, bro? What was that process like of getting your mortgage license?
So it's a 20-hour course or 23-hour course, which isn't very long, right? You can do it online. I did it
I
in
thought it was gonna
person.
be longer. I ain't gonna lie. I thought it was gonna be something crazy. Like I'm sure
Yeah.
the testing and stuff was crazy, but I thought it was gonna be like a year-long curriculum and all that.
Nah, I mean it's a license to print money. That's all it is, right? Same thing with the real
Yeah.
estate license. It's the real estate license is 63 hours and the mortgage license I believe is 20. You have to fact check that.
So you said real
But
estate is 63?
real estate is
Also,
63 and the mortgage loan originator license is like 20. So
mm-hmm.
I went and applied for the license for the class. There's always a class test and then a state test, right? You
Mm-hmm.
got to pass the class test to be eligible for the state test, and you go take the state test in like a state, proctored room, and I passed the test on my first try, just like my real
Mm-hmm.
estate license. Um, the content to study for your mortgage license, if you wanted to get your mortgage license, I would say the content is pretty dry. It's all based on how to protect the consumer, the history of mortgages, the history
Mm-hmm.
of how not to be prejudiced when doing mortgages, how not to come off as like you're steering or, it's all designed to protect the consumer. That's what
Yeah.
all these tests are for, right? It's not very interesting information. But I will say, because I had a real estate knowledge, I had a real estate background, I've already been in real estate 7 years before I got my mortgage license. A lot
Mm-hmm.
of the information kind of made sense to me. I was
Gotcha.
like, oh, I can see why this rule was set up this way because in the 1970s, they
Mm-hmm.
they ended a lot of the unfair housing guidelines. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, that makes sense. That wasn't that long ago, but
Just your
for
prior
me at least,
knowledge.
yeah, it's a quite. I've already been in real estate, so it made sense a lot of the rules. So if you're somebody that's just trying to print money and get your mortgage license, it might not hit the same way for you because
Mm-hmm.
the information is pretty dry, and if you don't find it meaningful, then it's going to be harder for you to study and really provide a good experience for your clients. Because
Yeah.
at the end of the day, you still have to provide a great experience. You're still in sales, you're going to get shopped around, and if they don't
Mm-hmm.
trust you that you're doing the right thing, people can smell that from a mile away.
So do you
So
think you should get your real estate license before getting your mortgage, or it's not I know it's not necessary, but would you recommend it?
I would recommend it if you are a real estate professional that cares about providing the best advice to your clients and you want to level up your real estate advisory. I know what it's done for my business, and I would highly recommend doing it, especially if your brokerage allows you to do both,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Okay.
Because yes, you can provide more value, most importantly, and two, you can make more income.
Mm-hmm. And that's the thing, bro. And that's for any field. If you can provide more value in turn and in return, you're gonna get more income and more revenue. So you're 100%, bro. And that's the thing. You now can provide a one-stop shop, more value for that buyer that wants to come buy that home. So kind of walk us through what a process would look like for someone who wants to buy a home, who now they don't have to go to a realtor and then go to, Bank of America or Wells Fargo to get a mortgage and then go over here and go over here. So describe how a process of buying a home from you would kind of go for the folks listening.
For sure. So I'll explain the old way and I'll explain my new way. So the old
Bet.
way is you go to a realtor, they're going to do a little consultation, how much do you spend on your rent currently? How long have you been living there? Where do you want to live now? what school district, where's your job, etc. Right? They find out where you want to live. Okay, now we're going to
Mm-hmm.
send you to a mortgage lender or a retail bank. You're going to have a whole different conversation with them, right? Which already is kind of inconvenient. Like, I just gave you everything I needed to give you to help me find a house. Now I got to go talk to somebody else to get
Yep.
a mortgage. And I got to give them a bunch of loan documents, supporting documents, pay stubs, bank statements, super personal information that if you didn't already have a relationship with that mortgage lender, you're trusting the realtor to point you in the right direction, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which works, right? Like, that's how the game has been played forever, right?
Yeah.
A lot of people still like going to their retail banks because they have a big brand and a big name, but you can Google it. Brokers will save you on average $8,000 to $9,000
Mm-hmm.
on your loan by going to a mortgage broker instead of a retail bank, right?
Oh
So
wow.
that's the
Okay.
old way. The new way, working with me, is we have that consultation all in one phone call, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where do you want to live, or what type of property do you want to buy? Oftentimes with me, it's an investment property. It's like a duplex,
Mm-hmm.
and people want to live in it because they can leverage those low down payment options that I'm very familiar with.
Facts.
So cool. We identify, rough numbers as far as like their income, how much mortgage they can afford, and we take a quick look into the marketplace, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I have a quick conversation with them. I hop on a Zoom call, I share my screen with them, and I say, look, this is more or less what you can expect in the marketplace based on this 10-minute conversation we just had. So
Yeah.
already they're like, okay, I can see the target on the wall. We have clearly defined a goal,
Mm-hmm.
right? Now they're more trusting and a little more motivated to get me those supporting loan documents. So after the phone call or after the Zoom call, I send them a link to my application.
Mm-hmm.
They start uploading their documents. They tell me how much income they make, etc. And we don't pull credit until we absolutely need to. But when they're ready to get pre-approved, we pull credit. After I've calculated income, I get them pre-approved. Then we can go to market.
Uh-huh.
So I can have that conversation as far as advising them on where they should buy and maximize how much equity they have saved up with the best loan product that's available to them, and do it all in the same conversation.
All in the same house, within the
All in
same
the
house,
same house. Yeah.
in house.
Yeah.
So, bro, what is that pre-approval? First of all, that is amazing that you have that capability, and that's why I was like saying, it's just wow, you can literally do this all one-stop shop within house. So that's very valuable. But as far as the pre-approval process, what does that look like with you personally? Being the mortgage broker.
Definitely. So it depends on the loan, right? If you are self-employed, then we're going to want 2 years of tax returns, sometimes year-to-date profit and loss statements, recent bank statements, and decent credit for a hard pull. If
Mm,
you work for another company, your W-2, we're going to need 2 years of W-2s, recent bank statements, decent credit for a hard pull,
yeah.
and any recent pay stubs to show if there's been any fluctuation in your pay.
What is decent credit in your opinion?
So for FHA, the lowest credit score that we can accept is a 580,
Mm,
right? 660 is what opens up the doors as far as like decent interest rates go. Right
okay.
now, rates are averaging in the sixes. And I'm currently working with a buyer now who's buying FHA. I got him at a 625, 6.25, and he had a credit of like low 700s, high 600s.
Okay.
So just to give, and it's July 22nd right now.
Mm, got you. Got you. Okay, that's smooth. So before coming to you, they will need their pay stubs. They're gonna need like kind of run through that list again of what
Yeah.
they
So
need
if you,
before they come to you.
Yeah, so if you want to buy a home or an investment property, you're going to need W-2s, 2 years, pay stubs, bank statements, and be prepared to pull your credit with a hard pull. If you're self-employed, you're going to need recent bank statements, year-to-date profit and loss statements, and tax returns, 2 years of tax returns.
Hmm.
Now, if you're strictly going for like an investment loan, like a DSCR loan, sometimes you don't even have to show income. If you have the down payment and
Hmm.
the property is generating enough income, all you need is credit and assets, the down payment to fund the loan.
Okay. Okay,
So it really
makes sense.
depends on the loan.
Got you. So that makes sense. And do you believe right now that for first time home buyers, easily FHA should be the one that all first time home buyers are attempting to use?
So FHA is a really great loan product for first-time buyers and first-time investors who are willing to occupy one of the units, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can buy up to a 4-unit property with your FHA loan, right?
Yeah.
So 3.5% down, and you get a lower than average interest rate in the marketplace. It's a really phenomenal product for a lot of first-time buyers.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't necessarily have to be a first-time buyer to use FHA. You just can't have more than two FHA or more than one FHA loan at a time, unless they're more than 100 miles away.
Mm-hmm.
But conventional is for people who have maybe a little bit more equity, a little bit more money saved up, because you do end up paying less interest over the life of the loan with a
Mm-hmm.
conventional loan. But usually it's a lot easier to get into the marketplace with that FHA loan because of the low down payment option.
Got you. Got you. And is there a way to combine, because like when we were talking, I think you mentioned, or we talked about how Miramar has like a great um down payment assistance program. I know Tamarack in like the Fort Lauderdale area has a great down system program. For all of our folks listening, is there a way, or is it possible to combine a down payment assistance program with an FHA loan or a conventional loan?
100%. So I'm not super familiar with the city sponsored down payment assistance programs, but right
Mm,
now there is a state funded program called Hometown Heroes where they'll
mm,
offer you up to $35,000 or 5% of the purchase price of the property for your down payment and closing costs.
mm.
And they are offering that down payment assistance for FHA and conventional loans. So absolutely, Hometown Heroes is a phenomenal program that's funded by the state
Wait, wait,
of
wait,
Florida.
wait. So you could get an FHA loan and have to pay 3% down, and this Hometown Heroes will pay up to 5%?
So FHA down payment is 3.5% plus closing costs. Let's call it another 2%.
Okay.
But Hometown Heroes will give you 5%, up to 5% for your down payment and closing costs. So if we get you into an FHA loan and we get up to 35K or 5% of the purchase price, and we negotiate a $5,000 or $10,000 credit from the seller, we can knock this out of the park. No money out of pocket.
That is,
Yes, sir.
hey, that is crazy, man.
Yes,
That
sir.
is that is crazy, the possibilities that are out there just from the knowledge. The knowledge of, working with professionals and experts like yourself, and then doing some of that self-knowledge. So, for my listeners, what could they do to become a little bit more knowledgeable in this space, or just when they do go talk to you or go talk to a mortgage broker, or a real estate broker, that they can at least have some basic knowledge and not be going in there blind? What would you say is like a good point
Yeah.
for them to start?
I say a great place to start is YouTube, right? YouTube University. You can learn anything on there. Bigger Pockets has a
Mm,
phenomenal podcast with free real estate education. And you can just look up, tricks of the trade, tips and tricks, FHA loans, creative financing. But the fastest way to learn, I think, is by contacting a mortgage broker like myself or a local professional who knows the ins and outs of financing and how it relates to your personal scenario, right?
mm,
Everyone's situation is different. So the advice I give you would be different than the advice I give the investor down the street versus the advice that I give the first time buyer, right?
got
So
you.
that's where you're going to get more personalized advice based on your specific income, credit, and asset
Mm,
situation.
makes sense. Makes sense. Come on, man. Come on, man. We on fire right now. We on fire right
Yes,
now.
sir.
Man, I just got one more question for you, bro. We can't have you on FY Fly and not ask you that famous final question. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna give you two quotes, and I need you to let me know which one is more accurate in your opinion. All right?
Okay.
All right, bet. So the first one is more money, more problems. Shout out Biggie. And, and the second one is money can't buy happiness. Which one do you believe is most accurate in your opinion?
So, I mean, they're both super accurate. Um, a new study just came out that said money actually can attribute to higher levels of happiness, but
Really?
it can't buy you happiness itself. Yeah, I would say with the second one because while it makes life easier and you're able to instill your personal values in your inner community by being able to give more freely
Mm-hmm.
and solve the problems that you have in your day to day with a lot less stress, If you're
Yeah.
not happy on the inside, it doesn't matter how much money you make. There's plenty of rich people who are miserable, and
Hmm.
suicide rates are off the charts right now, and there's plenty of money in the economy.
Yeah.
So, more money, more problems, that's for sure. But money cannot buy you happiness, but it can get you damn close. You just got to focus on the inside.
I love it, bro. I love it. Something one of my guests told me when I asked them that question. They said happiness stands on what happens. He said that
Mm,
internal joy, that's something that you just have to have. But happiness is based on what happens, which makes you happy. But that joy is inside, bro. So again, man, thank you
100%.
so much for joining the show. You killed it today. Like I said, for all of my listeners, man, if y'all are able to take some of these gems that Aaron dropped here today, I promise you, these small changes will lead to large results over time. So, bro, if you have any final words, any final takeaways, go ahead and also let them know where they can reach you and how they can contact you.
First of all, you killed it today. Thank you for having me on. This was a pleasure. You could contact me on Instagram or on LinkedIn. Pretty active on both platforms. Aaron Abbadie. That's Aaron Abbadie. And you owe it to yourself to do what's best for you. Don't let
Mm-hmm.
anybody tell you what your limitations are or what your time is worth. You go decide for yourself and make it happen.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, man. This was great. And all of my listeners, y'all already know what time it is. We need y'all to stay safe, stay invested, and stay FYI fly. We'll see y'all next week. Yeah.